I just saw one of the most repulsive live streams ever earlier today, or listened to it. It was the Obsidian Jared Taylor interview. Shout out to the Radical Home Sister for this one. It's amazing how, man, I was really repulsed because it was just like, for one, you had this person, Obsidian, just lapdog, just constantly trying to prove how much of a so-called non-nigger he was to Jared Taylor. And basically it was like watching a dog leap up to its owner to get its approval. Like a little chihuahua just jumping up on its owner's pants leg or something like that. It was just, I mean, this guy went out of his way just to prove, I mean, one, playing that repulsive Chris Rock routine about blacks versus niggers. Really? You think that dude cares about that? He does not see black people even the way that Chris Rock and you making the distinction. He sees all of us as niggers. I don't like using that word. I hate that word. Dude, when a person is telling you that he thinks that all black people have a low IQ and all black people function one way, based on a fucking IQ test, that says a whole lot. Or it sums up that person's ideology in one brush. This Obsidian guy thought he was exempt from being a nigger, basically. No. In the view of Jared Taylor's eyes, you are a nigger. He thinks all of us are one fucking nigger. I hate that word, man. Then, of course, he brought out the white supremacist flashcards. You know, the whole Charles Murray, William Shockley bullshit. It's really funny. It's of course you had the white supremacist like brigade over there. But then I mean, look at the comments section. It's just like you had a lot of brothers like seriously siding with this fool. Like, really? You're siding with someone that wants you dead. And the sad part is, I think it's like, hey, you totally agree with that. You know? This guy had the nerves. Jared Taylor pisses me off. I mean, it's just like, well, he has this like sort of calm demeanor, you know, like this. He's the, it's funny, American History X. I think that was even mentioned on something. Anyway, he reminds me of that person that says, hey, you know, in the future we don't need to shave our head and all that. You know, kind of just have that other look. No, I don't look at, just like he paints us as you know, pretty much one big nigger. I look at him, the whole white identitarian bullshit and so-called race realist. No, you're more of a real racist. Just say what you are. I look at that as a white supremacist because it's the same principles. It's the same ideology. But anyways, he had the nerve to talk about how black people had no inventions in Africa before the Arabs and then the Europeans that came after. This fool knows nothing about black history. I mean, there was knock culture long before that. The Artichet was long before any freaking Arab person came over in Ghana. The thing is, it's just like, and then had the nerve to talk about his travels through Africa and how, it was better that the white man was there. I guess some African dude said that. But the thing is, keep in mind, you come to a continent, you colonize that continent as you were enslaving people, and then, pretty much taking a lot of the people from that continent. And you establish your things, and then you oppress the other people. You give them these little trinkets, or how could I say this? Crumbs for their society or whatever, when it was nothing wrong with it before. And then basically, use those trinkets to divide and conquer people. And, you underdeveloped. There's a book about this, how Europeans underdeveloped Africa. Read it. I forget the name of the author, but I have it. It's a shame I forgot the name of the author. But anyways, what else is a person going to think? A person that has pretty much came there, put its foot on a continent and the people, basically set up this system to where you have this supposed so-called society, and you call it civilization or whatever, but you still have the money for that. You put that there. You brought that there. Talking about how Ethiopia and all that stuff was poor and all that. Well, that has everything to do with your system as well. Ethiopia, I know because I work with the Ethiopian community. There's a lot of great things that are going down in Ethiopia right now. Shout out to the new prime minister that they have. But even before that, Ethiopia has a rich history of its kings, a very great society. Before that as well, we had Nubia. And there's a lot. I mentioned a few other African places already too. Jared Taylor, it's like when I listen to these people, they only live in one echo chamber. They're basically white supremacists to me. You have this supposed thing that you've established there and have divided and conquered people. And then it's the reason that people think that you're so good because you have all those little trinkets or whatever, which isn't the case. You establish your system there. People are economically poor because of your system. And then you blame and mock those people because of what you actually shitted on them with. You act like your oppression was better for them. I don't care what any person says. Fuck, dude. Same thing in South Africa, same thing in the Congo. Yeah, Ethiopia wasn't colonized. And Liberia was like a freaking puppet state established by a bunch of bigot, racist white people to pit black people against another black people. So you make all these things and then you laugh when you watch the people at each other's throat, or you exploit that by exaggerating beefs, or more so making beefs, like what happened in Rwanda. Yeah. Then he had the nerve to talk about why black people are shot so much by cops. Oh, you can't blame the cops because they deal with so many... Bullshit, dude. Seriously. I myself, yeah, just like the other brother was talking about, I think it was Valdez that called in, I've been harassed by cops. There's a lot of brothers that have been harassed by cops. Oh, you use that as an excuse? Instead of like how there's a lot of white supremacist activity within the police force. Before the FBI came out with that, there's always been that. But yet, this idiot does not want to even acknowledge racial disparity. Dude, this place is like, I mean, they always talk about Chicago, but I mean, damn, dude. Don't act like white cats are just like the most civilized people either. Gallup, New Mexico, I mean, is one of them. What's that spot in Kentucky? I need to put that video that this white person actually did about towns that are very dangerous to go into. And he even pointed it out. It's because there's a lot of white people over there as well. It's not just black people. And people always want to like put that on us. No. Keep in mind who does these stats as well, man. And you had all these people on Obsidian's page basically trying to freaking hooray this stupid fuck. This charlatan. That's what I look at Jarrett Taylor as. He's very clever. And he's one of those people that will... I mean, seriously, dude. Jason Black told you guys he interviewed him. And yeah, he let his hair down on that new movie that he's releasing. From what he said, and was real honest, but he didn't, I mean, like, seriously, from what I understand, he was just like, he had no relent when it came to talking about what he not only believes, but these people, they believe in black genocide, seriously. What do you say about all the freaking school shooters? What do you say about the highest population of people that shoot back at cops and totally are always shooting at cops? It's not white people. I mean, it's not black people. It's white people that do that shit. We get killed for that. When you hear about groups like P9 shooting back at cops, or that one militia group, you know, the Bundys and all that. Yeah. There's a lot of things that are being ignored when it comes to black people in America. I believe that my people are creative, and I don't fucking care what these devils say. But at the same time, yeah, I look at our stuff. I don't think you should seriously like take it as if no one other community has that. He brought up the Chinese and Japanese and all that. Well, let me tell you one thing about them. A lot of their crimes are pretty much underground. You can't put any fucking like label on that shit. The few that are caught, they're caught. They do a lot of underground shit. They got the money for that protection as well. You know, and stats ain't nothing to me, man. They don't, because it's just how rigged this system is in the first place. You know, from what I understand, even when you talk about those underground things, you know, think about it. It's not like you have, you know, triads don't bang out like a lot of brothers, you know, like Bloods and Crips do. Or Wachings. Yeah, you might see things here and there, but a lot of that stuff is in-house. You know? We could talk about like, crimes like, especially like human trafficking and all that. That's violent within itself. It's funny. You never hear Jared Taylor talk about that, even with like Europeans. They lead in that shit. Russian mafia, all that. And again, he keeps talking about Hispanic people as if they're not like, at least as if there's no white Hispanic. I mean, shoot, the first Hispanics were white, or still are. Don't separate them from your Caucasian people. They're a mix now. Yeah, they're black Latinos, black Hispanics, as well as Amerindian Hispanics. But the thing is, he wants to paint a picture of them as just one thing. No, that's a whole mix. Lot of contradiction, and these people were just sopping it up like it was freaking like water. They're like lap dogs. They're like freaking, he was giving them it's so evil that a lot of brothers and sisters are siding with this fool. Anyways, yeah, I never listened to Obsidian until now. And I see why, as much as I don't particularly care for that Nelson chick, I see why she like seriously went off on that dude. And then him trying to do all this other bullshit to her, but that's not my issue. My issue is him being a freaking lapdog for white supremacy. I have more respect for O'Shea and my friend Reg, the bad guy. At least they're talking about issues. This Obsidian guy is a freaking hater, dude. Anyways, I'm out.